Hello, good evening and or good morning na pala. So, we are now on another episode dito sa Mimita Chinita on our wellness series. And we are done with our first part of the series, which is the physical wellness. So, I hope you learned a lot of things, mga tips from that series. And now, that part we are now moving on to another dimension of wellness, which is spiritual wellness. O, diba? So, what we're going to be talking about today is what is physical wellness, what is it all about, and also why do we have uh, to dwell on it? Like, why is it something na kailangan nating i-work on, if ever? And how do we also know if we are not spiritually well? And ano yung mga impact nun? Ano yung mga nangyayari sa atin when we are not spiritually well? So, those are the things that we're gonna be talking about today. So, um, let's now go to defining what is physical wellness. Una sa lahat, spiritual wellness. So, una sa lahat, ang spiritual wellness, a lot of people might think that it only involves religious practices, religious beliefs, and so on and so forth. But in reality, it's more than that. Kasi when you talk about spiritual wellness, it's also um, it's also it's very personal actually. So that's the reason why it may or may not include religious practices when we talk about spiritual wellness. So, siguro in a bit, I'll also be telling you why spiritual wellness is somewhat um, nire-relate natin to religious practices. So, yun. What is spiritual wellness? So, spiritual wellness is actually finding your purpose, diba? Understanding what your purpose in life is. And um, we don't know what we're really here for. And change is very constant. At one moment, meron tayong ganitong pangarap sa buhay. And then another moment, ganito na yung gusto natin mangyari. Like for example, when I was in my younger 20s, I really did not want to become a mom. Like, that's something that I tell all the boys that I date. Like, if you're someone who wants a family, just count me out because that's something that I know I don't want. I cannot guarantee that I will change and I would want it in the future, but as of that moment, I really did not see myself becoming a mom. And then eventually, when I was in my mid-20s, medyo nagbago-bago na siya. But now, the reality of life is I'm not with anyone. Ang gusto ko sa buhay is I want a family. Yeah, but when I say a family, it just does not mean a kid. Like, I really want a partner that is gonna be there with me, wherein magpapalaki kami ng isang bata. So, if I'm gonna be a mom, I will have to become a wife first. That's just me. You can judge me all you want, but yun yung preference ko. So, what does that story tells you about? Um, Change is very constant in us. Yung mga gusto natin sa buhay, it changes from time to time sa iba't ibang phases ng buhay natin. And sometimes it's very difficult for us to really understand what our purpose is in life. So we need to constantly contemplate on our purpose. And another thing is when it comes to spiritual wellness, it's all it's also aligning ourselves with mindfulness, yun, 'di ba? So what do you say? What do we mean when you say mindfulness? Ano ba 'yun, yung pagiging maaalahanin sa mga bagay-bagay? Pag hindi ka na nakakaalala ng mga bagay-bagay, mindless ka na or wala nang kwenta yung sinasabi mo, mindless na ba yun? Hindi naman. Although, it's in a way somewhat like that. What do I mean? When you say mindfulness, ibig sabihin, um, hindi siya parang walang kwentang thought. Alam mo yun, parang it's something that you really put your mind into, something na talagang kinocontemplate mo. And usually, when you are mindful, you see yourself not just a single entity. 'Di ba? You tend to think of more than just you. Ako napansin ko na, when you do mindful meditations, you tend to think of you tend to think on your surroundings. And eventually, if you are spiritually well, um, your life starts to have like meaning kasi you don't just revolve around you. Ako kasi minsan papansin ko sa mga tao, they tend to become sad just because they're only looking at themselves. Alam mo yun, parang they're so self-centered na parang I'm sad because of this and that, yada, yada, yada. They don't see that they're living in the world not for themselves, but they have families that they can put their life into. There are other people in na pwede nilang tulungan which can give purpose for their lives, so etc. etc. So yon. And I have mentioned earlier, spiritual wellness is about aligning yourself with your like surroundings, 'di ba? When you do your mindful meditation. So yun. And when you are starting to do that, you start to think of what's good not only for you but for others as well. So, alam mo yun, parang yung mga purpose mo, yung mga ginagawa mo, hindi na lang siya nag-a-align sa kung anong maganda sa'yo, kundi sa kung anong maganda din sa nasa paligid mo. Whether tao yan, whether nature yan, yan yung mga nag-uumpisang um, mag, mag-sink in sa'yo when you become a spiritual person. And, the next thing is, um, ito yung medyo mahirap eh. Alam mo yun, when you start to contemplate on those things, it's difficult to find the balance. The balance on what is good for me, what is good for others. Even I personally, it's hard to find the balance of that. 'Di ba? Ang dami sa atin, it's either they're too giving, hindi nila naalagaan yung sarili nila. They're only doing things for their family but they fail to take care of themselves. Ako na lang for one, I also just take care of, hindi naman sa family, pero when I deal with people, it's more like always trying to understand them. Kasi being spiritual, nagiging broaden yung understanding mo. And then, parang pag may conflict, you try to, hindi naman sa nagpapaano ka, nagpapatalo, pero as much as possible, you try to avoid it. You try to understand the other person. So, ako din, I got hurt very recently. At first, tinry ko, sorry pa, medyo, it was really sad. I'm just gonna take a pause. So, what happened was, someone hurt me very recently. And instead of acknowledging the fact that that person hurt me, I tend to have said na it's my fault because I wasn't enough. It's my fault because I was giving wrong answers. I should be more understanding kasi mas may experience na ako sa pagiging leader. It's just so happen na she's gonna be on that leadership role. Ako hindi. I should be more understanding. I should be mas marami na ako nakatrabahong leaders. I should have lowered my expectation. So, at first, ganun yung thinking ko. I, I, I don't even understand if I was crying after that just because I was so mean to myself that it's like I'm blaming myself that I was hurt. I mean, a lot of things was really running into my mind. And then I got to the anger phase. Like, oo nga naman, why should I blame her for her, why should I blame me for her hurting me? It's her fault, she's incompetent, it's her fault she's intimidated with me. That's why, imbes na maging objective siya, she just started attacking me. I'm not gonna get into the details of it, but yeah, that's basically what happened. I know I can be intimidating. I don't know why. I don't know if it's in the voice, pero it's not like I try to offend anyone. As much as possible, I try to be honest when I talk to people. I'm very transparent. If I don't know something, hindi ako nagmamarunong. 'Di ba? If I tend to sound smart because I find the problem, it's because I was trained to find the root cause of problems. It's not my fault you did not have the same training as me. So, wala kang karapatang masaktan ako. It's your fault for not being prepared. Yun lang yun. So, yeah, I got angry. And now, I'm just starting to, like, really review what happened there. I'm just starting to break it down, starting to understand what I feel, how I feel, and what am I gonna do to cope with it. So maybe creating this video is one of it. Hindi, joke lang. Nasa to-do list ko siya. Kailangan ko siyang gawin. Hindi pwedeng dahil sa bad trip ako ipagpapasa bukas ko na lang magawain. Kasi we'll never know how long I'll be in this rut. And I think I just need to keep on moving on. Diba? Yeah, I rest. I try to understand what happened. Then I move on. So yon, finding the balance of what's good for you, what's good for your surroundings, that's something that kailangan mo ring ma-achieve. And you only get to do that when you are spiritually well. Diba? Ito na yung susunod. Kasi medyo action-oriented na to when it comes to spirituality. What do I mean by that? When you are a spiritual person and you are starting to understand what's good for you, what's good for your environment, you start to have these values, beliefs, and as I've mentioned, constant ang change, you know. And the thing with people now, lalo na ngayon na it's like election time in the Philippines, and this is just the most toxic election campaign period that I have seen. Because the problem is, no one wants to acknowledge the change in their beliefs. Alam mo yun, parang sarado sila masyado sa pinaniniwalaan nila na whatever other people say, it's shit. Sila lang yung tama, sila lang yung magaling. And being spiritually well, you may believe your beliefs may not change, but your values should. Well, di ko sinabing magbago yung values mo, pero the thing is, when you are spiritually well, you, and nagbabago na yung values mo, you tend to also see the other person's values just to avoid conflict. You try to have this deeper understanding of a person. You try to have this and that. Pwedeng magbago decision mo on who you're gonna be voting for, pero yung actions mo, the way you treat people, the way that you talk to people, they're starting to change. It's because your values are also changing. The capability to change your values is a part of spiritual wellness. Kasi kung masyado kang sarado na ito lang ang tama, that's already a sign that you might not be spiritually well. Kasi when you're also spiritually well, it will show in your actions. Kaya nga dito lumalabas yung mga religious practices. Kasi some people would pray. Diba? Kasi wala tayong magagawa eh. Even may nagtanong, ano daw magagawa ng prayers for Ukraine? Yeah, wala. Hindi naman matapos ang gera kapag dasal-dasal lang ginawa natin. Kailangan meron talagang concrete na action para matigil yun. Pero syempre, praying is the only thing that you can do. Kasi hindi naman tayo pwede, pupunta tayo doon, gigera tayo doon, makikipapel tayo doon. 'Di ba? Huwag tayo masyadong laging galit on religious practices or kay God. Kasi isa din yan sa mga signs of spiritual unwellness. When you're like angry at God, angry at a higher power, when you're just so bitter in life, when you feel like you don't have any purpose, when you're lost, when you're starting to feel that you're worthless, dyan na nag-uumpisa yung spiritual unwellness eh. And I'll be honest with you, hindi ako masyadong confident, although people might see me as confident kasi I carry myself well. Kapag pinag-public speak mo, kapag nagsasalita ako in front of the camera, parang wala lang, 'di ba? Parang it's so natural with me when I talk to people, when I don't want to say I argue to people, pero when I respond to people in social media, it sounds like I am really a smart person. I have received, kung you don't find me smart, there are at least 5 people who says that I am. Sorry yung laway ko. Pero yun, there's at least 5 people who says that I am. So, I may appear that I am very confident, but I am not. I still have flaws. And to be honest with you, I've been feeling like that for a while. I don't know how long. I haven't really contemplated on how long I've been feeling this. Pero siguro around January. Yeah, siguro around end of January kasi yun yung medyo medyo hindi nakapag-workout, diba? And medyo I was starting to get sick. Yeah, lahat naman tayo nagkasakit ng mga January kasi puno po tayo ng kakaubusan nga ng gamot eh. But anyway, I have to admit, I too have lost where I want to go. Like, I'm not sure. I do have dreams. Like, I know what I want to do, but I'm just not sure if that's my purpose. And I try every day to be like a good person. I give my best in everything that I do, especially in my work kasi there's a lot of pressure, medyo bago yung program and all. But I know I am not spiritually well. I try, like I've been listening to masses every day. It's good actually. Like I'm starting to have different perspectives in life, which makes me less sad. But what I experienced yesterday, it parang I just came back. Parang it reminded me that I am nothing. I'm worthless. I'm lost. And I know I'm not. A lot of people, I don't know if they're just trying to comfort me or what, but they're sabi nila, I see a lot of potential in you, so you should not give up. And that's something I tell myself also. Yes, I'm not very confident. Hindi ako masyadong naniniwala sa sarili ko, so it's so easy to break me down. But I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up because of these people. I don't want to give up because of myself. I don't want to give up just because one person who don't know me said that I'm mediocre. And I think siguro kaya din na-delay tong spiritual wellness, whatever ko. It's because I think it's really time for me to like work on it. Alam mo yun? I really have to work on my spirituality just for me to have a better understanding on where I should be going. It's a life without a path. That's really difficult. And I really did not intend to cry here. But this is a live stream. Hindi ko siya ma-edit out. And we're gonna do the spiritual tips in the future. I hope you join me. I hope by the end of this part of our series, I'll be like more spiritually well. I hope I would understand where I would be going, and I hope I would be in a better place. I know a lot of people really don't watch this, but if you do and you get to this part, I would really appreciate if you send some love. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.